All right, hey everybody, I'm James from the After Hours Theater, and I'm standing here with the man, the myth, the legend, or sitting here anyway, with Tom Sullivan.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing swell.
Hey, for all you guys that haven't seen him before, he's at all these Cinema Wasteland things, and we're talking, this guy is a very approachable guy, and he's just one of the best guys I've ran into. So
That's the room where I started.
it's really cool. You know, so sitting down here, just wanted to ask you a couple of questions because you were involved in some in some pretty influential things.
Thank you.
I mean, to people like us who have seen these things and are just like, wow, this was really big for us, you know, and it's really big to be able to sit down and talk to you here.
Well, thank you. Thank you. As creator of special effects for The Evil Dead, I'm very proud of what we did. Sam made everybody look great. And it was a fun, exhausting experience, you know.
I can only imagine.
But yeah, Sam made something really special, and I'm amazed at how influential it's been. I mean, holy cow! I remember standing around at the house we were living at when we were making the movie.
Sure.
We're standing around the kitchen sink, wondering what do you think's going to happen with this film. And we kind of decided, you know, I think the point here is that a second film gets made.
Right.
And so at the time we filmed it, it was called Book of the Dead. And we thought, you know, if our movie plays in a Texas drive-in for one weekend, we can say we made a theatrical film.
Sound familiar?
And of course, you know, decades later, my weekends are shot, you know, doing these things.
Right.
And, but it's fun. It's an amazingly rewatchable film.
Yeah.
It was one of those things that when you saw it, you had to show it to somebody else. I mean, you had to like,
right.
You've got to see this thing. And I talked to a video store manager, and he said it was common knowledge during the 1980s, Evil Dead was the most stolen videotape there was. Because it was hard to find. I remember, like, the first VHS tape was SLP.
Oh, okay.
And it was like 8 feet of tape. You
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And, excuse me. And somebody just told me Evil Dead is the second most translated movie to other languages.
Wow. Yeah.
It's only behind Wizard of Oz. And wow, what the?
Yeah, that's insane. So I wanted to ask,
because it should be the original King Kong.
You had created these iconic images with, you know, of the Book of the Dead, within the Book of the Dead. Where did those images come from?
In the script, the book was described as having some kind of animal skin with a couple letters from an ancient alphabet. And being an illustrator, one of the first things you learn is when you look at something, people take about a second and a half to to figure out what's the story and if they like it.
Right.
You know? I mean, if it's worth looking at for 2 seconds. You
sure.
know? And so things to me have to read really easily. And I asked Sam, is this a book of evil? Yeah, it's full of evil spells. It's for demons and all that. And I thought, well, then you should look at it and go, I'm not even picking that thing up. And I'd heard about Ilse Koch. She was the wife of a Nazi commandant of a concentration camp.
Wow.
And she would take prisoners with tattoos and make curtains, lampshades, and book covers out of their skin.
Wow.
And so I kind of took that as a way to go. But of course, if you just have like the back or something, how do you know it's not just animal leather, you know?
Sure.
And so I decided, well, I didn't want to put a schlong on the cover, although a book with a handle is not a bad idea.
Right.
But so I chose the human face, and I had molds of the actors, everybody but Bruce. So if somebody's selling a Bruce Campbell Evil Dead casting,
sure.
It's fake.
Yeah, it's not yours.
Yeah, didn't do one. I never made a cast of Bruce's face. And I had a mold of Hal Delridge, and I put about 5-6 layers of latex in it. Then when it dried, stretched it out over the corrugated cardboard book cover.
Oh wow!
The pages were heavy parchment stock or heavy card stock, and I put 2 of those together. And the binding was grocery bag material, which is designed to disintegrate in the air.
Yeah.
Which it did. So now when we make our replicas, we use cloth in between the pages. And Sam didn't need anything illustrated, but I got to draw. So after I'd finished my other work and prep for the next day, I would sit around the kitchen table with Josh Becker, and we'd pass a joint, and I'd draw and we'd talk film. But
Wow.
Josh is a formidable adversary when it comes to film. I mean, he's got opinions and strong ones. And but he's also brilliant. He's a film director. He directed the premiere, the pilots of Hercules, The Legendary Journey, Xenia, Warrior Princess, Jack of All Trades.
Wow.
Still making movies, and several other films, really good ones. So anyway, that was the genesis of the book. But they were inspired. The pages were inspired by Da Vinci's notebooks. There's if you can point to this one over here. I can't remember the title of the page, but
Sure.
Da Vinci has, it's a square and a circle, and it's a guy in two positions, muscles tensed, relaxed, and I just, put a demon in there in a triangle and a pentagon.
Oh, wow.
And, just kind of stealing that. There's another famous Da Vinci drawing, and it's a man in this position, no wings or demon claws.
Yeah.
And but it's the muscle groups at the back, and beautifully rendered, much better than I did here.
Wow.
And of course, he had his he could write backwards, so you'd need a mirror in order to read his stuff.
Got it.
And also his anatomy drawings and all that. This one is my prophecy kind of page. There's Ash, Cheryl, Linda, Shelley, Scotty. That's me right down there.
Oh, wow.
Tim Philo, the cameraman, and holy crap, that's you.
There.
And
oh, geez.
There's you.
There. Yeah.
And there's you, Misha. We're all trapped in the book of the dead.
We're all there. And all these prints, all these are on sale here at Cinema
they are.
Wasteland.
Yeah. And I sell complete sets, the 32 pages.
Oh, wow.
In prints, and these are the lost pages from Evil Dead 2, because of course we burn up the first book in the fire.
Right.
And so they had to find more pages for Evil Dead 2, so I came up with these. Here's the prophecy page of the hero who will deliver us from the terrors of the Deadites. Visit lovely Kandar Castle. There's Rotten Apple Head.
And so that brings up a question with these being the lost pages of the Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
So it was already known there's a prophesied one.
Well,
so how far ahead was that? I mean, the thought of there might be an Army of Darkness or building to Army of Darkness.
Oh, there wasn't. Each film was kind of the last one.
Yeah.
It was fans. It's you guys every step of the way, including Ash versus the Evil Dead, that the demand was so strong that it became economically viable to make another one.
Wow.
And that's the fans. It's only the fans.
That is just
that's what drives it. The first Evil Dead didn't make that much money. One of the problems is it had they submitted it to the MPAA rating because of the violence in it and the gore, it would have gotten an X rating, make it look like a porn film.
Sure.
And which of course it isn't. There's like 12 frames of breasts in the film.
Yeah.
And they
12 glorious frames.
yeah, 12 glorious. And let's see, where's I going with that?
X rating.
Oh, X rating.
Sure.
So
Which it didn't
they
deserve.
went unrated, which
Yeah.
had like the same effect.
Sure.
In local papers, no reviews, no ads, just Evil Dead 7 and 9 kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
And so it didn't do that well. Fangoria readers got
Sure.
it, because there was a little article of it won a best, like third or fourth place for best special effects,
Yeah.
And,
wow. Wow.
that kind of thing.
So that's a pretty major accomplishment considering what goes into the pages of Fangoria.
Absolutely.
Holy cow! Everybody's in there.
My budget. I asked Rob Tapper, what was my final budget for Evil Dead?
Yeah.
And he said, what budget?
Yeah.
Because my estimate, until we had to rent the camera, the 16 millimeter camera for the Mitchell for the finale sequence.
Sure.
My budget was like $400. I mean, if that.
Wow.
And the most expensive thing was a gallon of foam latex from R&D Foams.
That sounds familiar too.
Yeah, that also sounds familiar, guys.
But my approach is if you're clever enough, and Sam knows how to assemble things. He's
Sure.
an expert at, he's a master and a genius at film technique.
Right.
So he could, we'd go out and analyze horror films, and he thought the worse ones you learn the better, because here we know we're going to make film with limited budget, limited resources.
Yeah.
But if you've got a room and you've got 3 actors and certain costumes and you've got these props available, and here's what has to happen in the scene, well, there's ways to pump that up to get the most dramatic, effect out of it.
Sure.
And Sam was really good at that. I mean, we've
Wow.
seen his
Well,
films.
yeah.
None of them are stinkers. I mean,
No.
they're all worth something and they're creative.
Right.
And his best advice to me was, you can learn lots from bad movies,
Sure.
but also steal from the best, but make it your own.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that actually leads into another question that I'd had, maybe not on film or involved in film.
Mhm.
What's like a favorite Sam Raimi moment between the two of you?
When he saw my Flying Deadite footage for the
Oh.
first time, he compared me to Harryhausen, which I thought was very generous.
That's amazing.
And if you watch Evil Dead 2 in the Flying Deadite sequence, I had done a little trick with my assistant with Brian Ray. It had a super scopy head covered with foam latex, a very thin layer.
Okay.
So in the head, I put 6 hex nuts, small screws, and Brian rigged, glued with. It was amazing task to do this.
Sure.
But he glued monofilament line, and the lines would go through trenches, little
Oh, wow.
tiny little trenches. So I could raise and lower via stop motion animation the eyebrows, and raise and lower the mouth.
Wow.
Now the scene got truncated a bit, but so it was supposed to be a whole sequence with like a Harryhausen fight with swords and knights on horseback and everything.
Yeah.
But they put dust up in the air, and like, no, you can't do that because I can't put the creature in the dust or behind it.
Yeah.
It'll look like it's in front of it and won't look like it's in the same plane. So darn it. And so it shows up, gets its head blown off, and disappears.
Yeah.
But if you watch in between one of the wing frames, you can actually see it smile.
That is really neat.
But
That is really
I
neat.
studied how big birds flap and everything Harryhausen animated with wings.
Sure.
I figured out it's 7 frames down and then 14 frames up,
Oh yeah.
and which gave it a nice,
Nice swoop.
and they have to snap when you go down. There's
Given
a thing
the
called
effect.
slow in and slow out, because things don't just start like a robot.
Right.
It's that kind of thing.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, I'm very proud of that work.
That was an amazing scene. And then like how are there any? How did you get involved with Cinema Wasteland?
I was at my first. I was visiting the Novi Comic Con, and I was walking around and I saw a big display of T-shirts, and there was one like this and another one with Cheryl's head coming out of the cellar, and I said, "Hey, I did that makeup," and he said, "You're Tom Sullivan?"
Wow.
And yeah, and he said, "Well, I'm doing a convention. I'm thinking of doing a convention in another year or so.
Sure.
Would you like to be a guest?" And sure, I'd never done a guest appearance for Evil Dead
Wow.
in 20 years.
Yeah.
And hell yeah! So I turned out to be the first guest he ever invited here.
That is amazing.
And I've done every single Cinema Wasteland. I think this is number 34 for me.
Wow. So in this, one of the things that we had said before, and also, we have a podcast. We've talked about Cinema Wasteland on there, and namely coming in here and speaking with you and things like that. We've talked about that and said this is a great experience here.
Sure.
Come down here, and see this art, speak to this person,
Yeah.
And so just throwing that out there. But you do see a lot of fans. And what is there any like crazy fan story that has happened here?
Right in this space, and this is like the 3rd year I was here, some young guy, slightly intoxicated, came in and I showed him my Book of the Dead.
Yeah.
And he said, can you translate that? And I said, no, I call it Bullskrit, Sanskrit and bull.
Yeah.
And he said, no, it's real, those are real words. No, I made that up. It's just silly stuff. I was trying to remember, like Sumerian. What's a Sumerian? I don't know. I've never met one. And I'm thinking maybe some kind of Proto-Egyptian thing that might work. It's film.
Sure.
How many Sumerian scholars are going to be upset that I got it wrong?
Right.
And so I was trying for like the little. I figured so hieroglyphs.
Sure.
The things, and I was trying to figure out what was behind on the wall. Behind the Pharaoh Yul Brynner in the 10 Commandments, because it had all these walls with the hieroglyphs in it, and I couldn't remember, but I faked it.
Sure.
And there's no hidden messages in that book. There's one or two in the second book.
Right.
And then in the Anchor Bay books, they're all hidden messages.
Oh, okay.
Which pretty much demonstrate what a smart ass I am.
Well, yeah. So he thought that this was like a literal thing.
Yes, but he insisted on it, and finally I just.
Sure.
I agreed with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got me. Yeah.
This is all. Yeah.
But I didn't translate it for him.
Well, thank you so much for speaking with us here, guys. April is when they do Cinema Wasteland again.
Yes.
Down here, you'll be here.
Yeah.
And
7th, 8th, I think.
So, all this artwork, come down here, see the artwork, buy the artwork. Speak to the man who has the plan here. Anything that you're involved in right now?
I'm writing scripts now.
That is amazing.
I've got tons of really good ideas. And
wow.
I want to change the world before it dies.
There it is. You heard it from the man himself. Thank you so much again.
You're very welcome.
Tom Sullivan, everybody.
All right, guys, back here at Cinema Wasteland, and I'm here with Mummy and the Monkey. Or Monkey and the Mummy, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever, however you want to say it. They've got an awesome live stream that they do. No, it's awesome. It's awesome. They've got a YouTube channel out there, and they've got a consignment shop, thrift shop.
Yes. It's called the Mummy and the Monkey's Thrift Crypt. Yeah.
Mummy and the Monkey's Thrift Crypt. It's on Madison Avenue in Lakewood, Ohio, and we also have an online version of it. The Mummy and the Monkey have an eBay store, so if you go on the mummyandthemonkey.com, we have all the info there. But for our brick and mortar shop, we offer buy, sell, trade for monster toys, Halloween stuff, vintage and antiques, all sorts of weird things.
Like things like this.
Yeah, things like that.
All kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah.
And on their YouTube channel, you can watch some of the stuff that they pick up and talk about. So that's pretty cool.
Right. The mummyandthemonkey.com. Check it out, baby.
Pretty awesome. They've also got, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Our Facebook Live show is the Harry Scary Hangout, and it's an interactive horror-hosted B-movie show.
That's what I was going to ask you about, so that worked out perfectly. And you've got something that you're doing right now in another state, I hear.
Yes, for the month of October, we're on KOFY TV, Coffee TV in San Francisco, and if it goes well, we're going to work out a more long-term agreement with Coffee TV and hopefully other TV markets.
Yes, maybe you'll see the Mummy and the Monkey on a TV station here in Cleveland someday. Who knows?
In Cleveland, Seattle, Chicago,
Sheboygan, wherever the heck you carry us. That's where we'll be.
Istanbul, I mean, right to your local channels, people.
But ultimately, our home is right here in Cleveland, so don't worry about that. We're not going to lose that, baby.
Well, at any rate, that's a pretty amazing opportunity. So, very happy for you guys.
So we'll see what happens. But we still have the live show, the Harry Scary Hangout.
The biggest channel of them all.
On Facebook, right?
The
So check it out
interweb.
there. Oh, yeah. We just walk through, I don't care. But anyway, so yeah, let's wrap it up here so people can get through.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, thank you guys for
Thank you,
talking
Jay.
to us.
Thank you.
And we'll see you. They're here every year, guys. Every April and October.
Yeah, it's a
right?
buy something.
Biannual.
So definitely check them out.
I only have one of those biannual.
Whoa.
Anyway.
Okay, Grim. That might be too much info.
That's right.
Well, now you know something else about monkeys that you didn't know before.
Bye.
Hey everybody, this is James from the After Hours Theater with the man, he's the legend. This is Tom Savini, guys. I mean, we are talking Friday the 13th. We're talking everything. If it was a splatter movie in the 70s and 80s and this guy didn't do it, I don't think it was really worth watching. What do you think? No, I know. They were great movies. So, it's okay if I ask you a couple questions?
Yeah.
Okay. As far as like, I know that, oh man, I'm stumbling. You're my hero. But blood and gore or implicated blood and gore for you in a film?
It's more effective if you imply it. You know, I mean, it sounds crazy coming from me because we show it all the time.
Right.
But some of the really great horror movies that I remember is when it's kind of happens off camera and you have to imagine it. You know?
Sure.
But there's value with both. You know?
Okay, and I wanted to ask you, what was it like working with George Romero?
Oh, he's just a big kid.
Yeah.
It's like working with one of your friends and you're out there making movies, you know. He was always like just a big kid, one of the guys. You know?
Out of Pittsburgh. You guys came around Pittsburgh?
Yeah, we did nine movies in
Oh
Pittsburgh.
man, that is fantastic. And I wanted to ask about the remake of Night of the Living Dead. How involved was he in that, and what was that like for you
Well,
to
he
take that
wasn't
to another level?
He wasn't there. He had a.
Okay, we're going to draw for that 52 card for the posters for helping my dog out. I'm going to have an impartial person over here reach in and pick the winner.
Are you hearing that?
Young man, would you like to pick a winner here? Just reach in and pull a card out.
He's going to pull
He's
a card.
Just pull one card out.
He's helping his dog.
Yeah.
Okay. The winner is the Six of Hearts. Whoever has the Six of Hearts, come over to my table and pick up your prize. That's the Six of Hearts.
Who? Where?
They get to help the dog, though.
I don't have a card.
Me neither. I didn't know you could get a card.
Yeah. So no, he had a deadline. He was writing The Dark Half at the time.
Right.
He was there at the beginning, and he came by toward the end. But it was mainly us out there doing it.
Oh wow, that is amazing. And I mean, so like directing that, was that your first full feature?
Yeah, I directed 3 episodes of
Tales from the Dark Side. Yeah, that's amazing. So I had to ask too, what was it like reprising your role of Blake from Dawn of the Dead and then to Land of the Dead years later?
Well, I'm the only actor who's ever played in both or 2 Dead movies.
Oh wow.
You know, my character anyway. It's the only character that repeats itself in any of the Romero films. You know, that was an honor and it was a blast. You know, we were in Canada, Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a fantastic thing. And then one more for you, if you would. Oh,
My wife is calling. Hello. Keep rolling.
he's got an exclusive.
Okay. No. Oh, did you find my jeans? Did you find my black jeans? No, I would have. Yeah, I would have worn them to. Oh no! You know what? They're in my pocket right here. They're in my pocket. The keys are in my pocket. Okay, very good. I'm being recorded, so I'm going.
This is awesome. Thank you so much again for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome.
One more thing here. I just wanted to ask, actor, stuntman, director, special effects, what is it for you that was like the absolute pinnacle? I mean, because I know you've done it all, and it's a weird thing.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like,
it's kind of hard to beat Dusk Till Dawn.
oh yeah.
Just because of who I got to hang out with.
Oh yeah. Robert Rodriguez, Quentin
George
Tarantino,
Clooney.
George Clooney.
My job for 3 days was to watch Selma Hayek do that dance.
And that slayed me.
Snake,
Oh
yeah.
man.
Well, you know, somebody had to do it.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, it's a hard job. Wow. Well, Tom Savini, thank you.
Okay, good luck with your
Thank you
show.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You are an absolute hero. Thank you so much.